And I'll make some comments and things at the back.
Sure. So let me go ahead and get this started here. Hold on one second. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to try to talk a little bit slow, but as fast because I do want to make sure everyone here gets as much information as they can. And please feel free at the end if you do have if you do want this information or you do need more information on this, just let me know. I am freely giving this information. I always tell people one of the things that we lack amongst our community is the ability to give, right? The ability to give out free information. I believe if you're freely given, freely give back out, right? So that's exactly what I'll be trying to do today. A little bit, I'm sure you can hear a little bit of accent. So that's the main reason I'm going to talk slow so that you get every single information. So just like the slide says, we will be talking about how you can scale your government contracting services. If you're not in the government space as of yet, that is one way you could get some businesses, right? Gearing into the Department of Defense. I know some people will say, oh, I don't believe in war. I don't either. But sometimes they do have certain services that you can do that doesn't directly correlate with going to war and all of that. A little bit about TNT LLC. We are a women-owned, some of you that know all of these certifications, MBE certified company. We were founded in 2020. We are also a cyber AB registered practitioner organization. So if you're not familiar with CMMC Compliance, which is one of the industrial regulations required to perform DOD contracts. We actually help organizations get certified in that way. I am also, I said I am, TNT LLC is also DBE, MBE, and SWRM certified. And I also have a PMP certification. So what is our goal here today? My goal here today is to empower small business in the pursuit of DOD contracts. I do want to tell you that every information that I'll share today is also relevant in other federal or government contracts. We will explore critical strategies and indispensable knowledge necessary to navigate this DOD procurement. We will unravel key steps and strategies, and we will particularly elaborate on eligibility criteria. So I'm gonna go all in and just tell you exactly as it is. Please feel free if you do have questions to put it on the side. So what are some of the eligibility criteria to get into this? First and foremost, you must register on SAM, right? The website is sam.gov. You must register to even begin to bid on any federal procurement. I want to tell you this. Sometimes you see people saying, oh, just pay me this amount of money and I can get you SAM certified. I got SAM certified myself. A lot of my certifications I got myself. A lot of small to medium-sized businesses or small businesses, when we're newly starting, it's a little bit tight on the financial side, right? And sometimes maybe not. So a lot of these things you can do by yourself. And then as you scale, you can definitely employ people to renew this and get this done for you. Some other eligibility criteria is you have to be certified in one way or the other, right? So if you're a woman-owned business, get your WOSB SB. If you're a veteran-owned business, get your SDVOSB. If you're hub zone, 8A small business. There's so, I didn't include all of them here. There are so many certifications as a small business and a disadvantage if you're a minority business that you could get to assist you to get some of these contracts. Financial stability. One of the issues I faced, right? I'm going to be honest with people. One of the issues I faced when I was newly getting into the government contracting business was I was all about getting the money. I was like, when you're a small business, the reason you start a business is to build wealth, whether you like it or not. That's the main, either generational wealth or to break something in your own generation, right? That's the reason a lot of people start businesses. And when we're doing that, we hear a lot about government contract, but we fail to realize that when you get some of these contracts, it takes time for them to get you paid. I currently have one contract that I did 2 or 3 months ago. Till date, I haven't fully gotten paid. It takes time. So you must have some finances in your account, whether you're going to take a loan, whether you're going, there's some, I recently learned of some companies, and maybe Ken can talk about that, not Ken, but there's some companies that will actually give you money, particularly for government contracts, so that when you're waiting, you have money in your account to pay your employees, pay your contractors, while you wait for the money to come into your account. Once that comes into your account, then you pay them back. I really want to emphasize on this. We scream about government contract, but you must make sure you have some form of financial stability. It doesn't have to be your own money, but you must have some money in the bank to pay your contractors while you're doing the contract. Capability statement. This is a must. When you're trying to bid for contracts, when you're trying to bid for federal contracts, when you're trying to bid for Department of Defense contracts, a requirement is what we call capability statement, right? And anybody who wants a template, I can give you mine for free, right? Just send me your info and I'll send it to you just as a guide, or you can go online and Google it, right? It's just a comprehensive that outlines your business experience, core competencies, and qualifications relevant to the specific DOD contract or contract opportunity. This is where things like your past performance. One of the issues I had initially when I started was I only had one main past performance with the government. I didn't have a lot. I remember when I went through one of my certifications, one of the things they had asked me is, we need 3 past performance. And I'm like, where am I going to get 3 past performance? I literally had to be very honest and transparent with the interviewer. Knock on wood, thank God I got my certification, but I had to be honest. So there are people, and we will talk about companies like PTAC, Apex, that can guide you on ways to build these capability statements. Sometimes it might be your previous employment. Sometimes it might be some minor businesses you did with the commercial space. There are ways to go about it. So do not feel this is a lost cause. We'll talk about some of these companies that can do it for free for you. Quality control and compliance. To get into the DOD space, you must adhere to ISO, or what they call, another is CMMC. You must be certified as a CMMC company. There are different levels of CMMC. We have level 1 CMMC certification, level 2, and then level 3, depending on how in-depth in the Department of Defense you want to go to. And please, this is particularly relevant to DOD contracts. It's actually a mandate to be CMMC certified. To get the level 1 certification, you can do it yourself. And if you need guidance, I can basically show you how. However, for level 2 and level 3 is when you will need to outsource that to a company to get that done for you. Security clearance. This is not for all DOD contracts, but some DOD contracts may require employees, right, or contractors you've hired to get the job done to have some form of security clearance. And remember, it doesn't mean your agency or your company must have security clearance. It just means when you hire a contractor or an employee to get the job done, they will need to have some form of security clearance. It might be something as simple as it might be public trust, or it might be some of the top tiers of security clearance. So be mindful of that when you bid for contracts. I initially elaborated on this, experience and past performance. This is a key factor for DOD contracts. They need, and the simple reason for this is they just simply want to know your track record. Are you somebody who starts something and then abandon it and leave it? Are you somebody that does not have good soft skills? That's one thing people fail to realize. In business, you must have some form of soft skills. You must be able to deal with people. When you're getting into the federal government contract, you're going to meet all sorts of people that are polite, people that have bad manners, good manners. You have to learn to deal with them in order to be called back for new contracts. So past performance is key to any government contract. Technology innovations. DODs are very concerned about the technologies you use. Are you innovative as a business? Are you back in the ages, right? Excuse me, please. Are you back in the ages when it comes to your technology innovations? They want to make sure that you're advanced. They want to make sure that your systems are secured. They want to make sure that your security posture is intact. Because remember, when you're dealing with DOD, you're dealing with sensitive data. You're dealing with critical data. So you can't have a software or a laptop that has all forms of viruses, all forms of malwares, and you are trying to deal with DOD contracts. You must make sure if you do not use like your personal laptop for your DOD kind of, contracts. It must be secured. That's the number one thing they look out for. And that's the main reason they have mandated CMMC certifications for companies that want to do business with them. A lot of people get discouraged because of this. And that's why there are few people who have decided to follow the process that end up getting that piece of the pie. Legal and regulatory compliance. I already talked about this. CMMC is one of the main ones for DOD. And then other federal government contracts, make sure you see what their regulations or industry-specific regulations are. Insurance requirements. It is mandated for you to have some form of liability insurance. As a business, you should have liability insurance. Just in case something happens, you want to make sure you have money behind your back to resolve that. And sometimes you will not have all the money in the bank. So it's very important as a business to have some form of insurance. Seeking assistance, like I said, you don't need to go and spend $1 billion or thousands of dollars to go through this process. There are people the government have put in place to help small businesses like ourselves to go through this process. We have, for example, the Defense Contract Management Agency that deals with a lot of DODs and that can help small businesses get into that line. We have the SBA, Small Business Administration. We have the Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, or APEX, that could guide you through this process. The good thing about PTAC or Apex, depending on what state you are in, is that they will guide you in getting the certifications. So you see things like 8A certification, women-owned certification, small business certification, DBE, MBE. They can guide you. You don't, I'm saying this because I know some of the pain points I faced when starting. Because I wanted to scale so fast, I was like, oh my God, what is out there? Who can help me do this fast? And I paid some agencies, but guess what happens? You will still end up doing a lot of the work. All they will do is guide you. You're still going to have to give them the documents. You're still going to have to research on some information because that is your company. So my advice to businesses that are starting, don't waste the money. There's so many places you're going to need money in the long haul. Go to some of these free agencies that the government have available and use the assistance available. Organizations like our Maryland Black Chamber of Commerce, that's why they're here. They provide a lot of this information. They provide a lot of these webinars so that you can have all of these information for free. Networking and relationship building. I know a lot of us, some of us just prefer to just be in our own little corner, don't want to go out and network. If you're a business owner, remember this, you are the #1 salesperson. So you have to get out and network and build relationships. This is very important. When we have our networking events, you come out there and meet people. You never know who knows who. So always look for industry events. For example, this is just an example. If you pick a DOD company, let's say the Pentagon, just using the Pentagon, or let's even just say IRS. IRS is not really DOD, but let's just say IRS in federal government contracting. And you want to end up winning contracts in IRS. Do you know what I will do if I were you? I will go to industry events for the IRS. They have free industry events where they welcome small business owners to come in and meet some of their procurement officers. Identify those in your areas. People like PTAC and Apex, they have a lot of industry event days where you can come out and meet procurement officers, introduce yourself, introduce your business, and you never know where this could lead. Financial considerations. I really want to emphasize the importance of strategizing your cash flow, strategizing your finances. The federal government contract or the government contract is not a rich, quick scheme. It's not. Everything that is sustainable requires time, and you got to put in the time, the money, and the effort. When you're newly starting, you don't have all the money in the bank. That is the reality. So you must be willful to put in the time to get all the information you need. The truth of the whole matter is that contracting, if you get the right one, oh, your business can scale to the heights you can never imagine. But the most important thing is put your strategies in place. Patience and persistence. It's not easy. I want to say nothing is easy. You got to go out there, kiss hands, kiss babies, or however they call it, talk to people sometimes that you don't want to talk to, get ignored, get slapped. Nothing in life is easy, right? But please stay persistent and patient. My business started 3 years ago. I am beginning to reap the reward of being persistent. I stayed persistent. I did not give up. I did not say, you know what, this is not working in 1 year, I'm going to do something else. No. A lot of the big businesses that are still in existence today are still in existence and strong because they continued on one thing, stayed focused on it, and grew it to what we know of it today. Conclusion. Please evaluate your readiness, refine your strategy, network and collaborate. When we have events, please come out and network. We have some great men and women that come to the Maryland Black Chamber of Commerce events. Come out, look for other events that you can go to that is near your side. Come out, network and collaborate, and continually improve your business. Continually strategize on how you can grow. How can TNT LLC help? We can always help when it comes to the compliance piece. For example, getting CMMC certified. We can also assist in cutting edge IT solutions when you get there. Some of you are not there yet, but when you get there, you can reach out to us and we will gladly help you in this piece. All right. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Let's see.
Do you have some contact information that can get from you?
Yes.
Right here.
Yes. Maria, can you please put our contact information? Just put the Calendly so that they can just book on there, please. Put it in the chat. Okay, she just put it. So it's right there. Please let me know if you see it. It's in the chat box. And please schedule a time and we can talk further. I'm very open. Honestly, my whole thing is if you give, you will get back. So I'll give whatever information I need to give to help you or lead you or direct you to whom can help you. All right.
Yeah, firstly, thank you for your overview. It was fantastic. Really appreciated it.
You're very welcome.
You know, as a startup like such as yourself, just a few years ago, what was your biggest roadblock at that time that if you would have known what you know now, you would have mitigated that, which would allow you to ramp faster?
Oh, thank you very much.
Before you answer that, can you stop share screen so we can go full screen?
Oh, okay, please. Yes, we'll do. Okay.
Okay. Who asked that question?
It was
Mark Smart.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good.
Okay. I will say that one thing I would have done is, number one, make sure I build my business line of credit, right? Secondly, I would have been structured and strategic in what parts of the industry that I wanted to get to. Thirdly, I would have gotten out of my office and network at relevant events. Not all events are needed. There is no time wasting your time being events that will not lead your company to the goal you need to attain. So being strategic on the right events to attend. So those are the three I will say.
So, Jenna, we often hear at the chamber when it comes to procurement opportunities that, you know, it's the good old boys and it's how do you crack down the door to get in to meet the right people? How did you successfully navigate getting through that system?
Thank you very much. The first one, and I'm going to be straight up, the very first contract that I got with the government, I did a lot of bidding. That was it. I did a lot of bidding. However, when procurement officers emailed me immediately, I followed up continuously, right? Number one, if somebody says, okay, because normally when you bid, right, they would have your information, your email and your contact information, and they can email you when an opportunity comes up. When that came up, there was one that came up, and this procurement officer emailed a whole bunch of people. The reason why I won that contract was because I remained persistent. She told me, she said, you were the only person that followed up and followed up. You know, I told her, okay, when is this coming out? When are the results coming out? Is there anything I need to do? I followed up persistently. The second contract that I did get was I got it through one of the PTAC events. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but they had an event and I met with some of the procurement officers there and I just built a relationship with that. I would email the person. There was one time I said, let's have a virtual meet, right? And that was how I built the relationship that way. But at the end of it all, if your price is not low enough, you're not going to win the contract no matter how you look at it.
So is it always the lowest bid gets it, or is there something to be said about capabilities and quality?
It is capabilities, quality, and in some aspects, you have to be the lowest. So the first thing they look at is the lowest bid. That's the first thing they always look at. And then the second is they will look at your capability, right? And your qualifications. If you don't qualify, you're not going to get it. So that's basically, yeah. So before they even, yes, go ahead.
I'm going to ask you a complicated question. So
okay. And if I know it, I'll answer. If I don't know it, I'll say no.
Feel free to say I don't know. And if anybody else, if anybody else knows, feel free. You know, this is a group effort here. So what I've heard from many of our Black-owned contractors is, in order to make the lower bid, it's difficult for the small business person, the one, you know, you have 5 or less employees, and it's easier for the larger folks to come in at scale, and because they could make less money but get more contracts, and so that becomes a kind of a fly in the ointment. What's your comment on that? And then does partnering, you know, sometimes alleviate that issue?
Okay. So let me tell you how I personally don't even care about how big, I don't even think about them. Maybe it's just because of my belief system or whatnot. So I don't even care about my competitors out there. However, what I do is I am usually very strategic, and this is what I do. And maybe if somebody schedules a time, or maybe another series, I can break this down. There is a process to the madness, right? For example, one thing I do is if I get a bid, I usually look at there's a way you can research several sites you can go to identify what the previous person that had that engagement price was. When I see what that price is, right, then I go through and do my investigation. First and foremost, I ask myself, is it going to be easier for me to hire, get a contractor or hire a contractor myself instead of going through a staffing agency? Right? Those are ways I can cut costs. Then I go on places like Indeed and Monster and all of those platforms and see what people who are trying to do those jobs, because most times you don't want to do the job. For you to scale, you can't be doing those jobs. You need to get a contractor to do that job. So I go online and see people within this position, people that are hired within this position, what's their salary? What is their hourly rate? When I see that, then I tell myself, you know what? If I only get 50%, if I only add 50%, will I be good? Please, everybody, remember this, right? When you're newly starting, you want to build that past performance. So you might not get 110% on the baseline price. You might not. But at least if you get a 50%, you are good. Build the performance. So that's what I basically do. I'm very strategic to make sure that I'm going to win, and then just add a little bit of profit on top of that, and then bid.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Tarita has her hand up, and then after
Yes.
that, Leon, I'll read your question in the chat.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tarita Lewis. I'm the CEO and president of Government Contract Support Services. My background is, before starting my own company, I used to be a contract specialist for very federal agencies in the DC area. So to answer your question, that is false, right? You got to remember, it's lowest price, technical, acceptable, right? So you got to have a technical response that has been evaluated as responsive. So because the evaluation criteria is lowest price, technical, acceptable, it doesn't mean that larger businesses, because they can lowball their way in and then expand. We know that, right? Because we have something called an independent government cost estimate, right? So we already know what we're going to pay for whatever we're procuring. So we'll know if you lowballing us. We know if you coming in high. These are things that when we evaluate proposals, we know what to look for. So that's not true at all.
Excellent feedback. Next, Leon in the chat wrote, hypothetical. This is my first bid. I've underpriced my services. How, if at all, may I raise my price, or must I just take the hit?
To me personally, right? And Tarita, you've been, yeah, but to me personally, and I talk about my own experience, right? Never make sure you do have some profits. Do you understand? As a business owner, make sure you have some profit. Don't lowball yourself to the extent that you don't have profits, right? Like I said, look at what it is to hire the contractors to get that job done. Look at all the expenses, whether it's transportation, look at all of that. When you're competing, you don't want to either now make yourself overly expensive either, right? But make sure you have some profitability. That'll be my advice.
Excellent. I'm going to open up and ask if anyone else has any words of wisdom or questions or lessons learned. Brenda, you have a question? Unmute
Well,
yourself.
I don't actually have a question. I just have a statement and making sure what type of contract that was and whether or not it was just a regular request for quote and they request for quote and it was equipment or something and it wasn't services or it was what type of request it was for, because a request for quote could be just a product and you can see the product in 50 million places, and sometimes you're able to get someone else to help you lowball that price, but you're that's not too bad. But if it's a service, that's a whole nother different ball of wax. You try not to, I feel that you should never try to lowball your services, but yes, you should do your homework. And I was in the government and the lowest price always don't win.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because we find out other things about the company. Well, when I worked in the government, we looked at companies at the other things, because we, in the paperwork, we always ask, how have you done the last couple of years? How much you made? You know, and different things we ask from you to supply with your paperwork. And when we read it over, it's not always the lowest person wins. I can tell you that because quite a few low ballers lost their position because the way they wrote up the paperwork. So be careful. That's all I got to say.
Gotcha. Thanks. Good info. Michael Pulliam.
Hi. Beyond the in-person events that you go to network, do you use any type of online services to notify you of when certain service bids come about?
Yes.
I use SAMS, but it doesn't seem to be robust enough to really notify me timely.
Yes.
When bids are due.
Yes, and yes. I do use, there are 3 tools that I do use. And can you provide your information? Because I want to make sure I give it to you correctly. I will send that to you via email. There are 3 websites that I actually use to actually get alerts, but maybe it's because I'm always more concerned about, you know, budget management and all of that. But I will send it to you and you make your choice. But I do use 3 tools. Yes, I do use 3 tools. Just
Thank you.
Sure.
Mark, I saw you waving your hand.
Yeah, I want to know, should we post our, because I like to get that information as well. Should we just post our email address in the chat?
Please go ahead. Yes.
So Melissa, do we have a method from those who are on here? Can we do a group email to send out information from Jenna?
Yes, we can send them a follow-up email.
Okay. Just to the folks that are on here, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll send that out to the group. And we'll send also, we are restarting after several years, our government contracting affinity group. So we'll put you guys on that database as well. So we want to do things like this and network and provide resources and support for each other. So we're putting together an affinity group for our government contractors within the chamber.
Yes. And one thing I really want to advise everybody that has helped me, and remember, I am talking more of a company that bids for contracts, a company that has that is a small business, right? So I don't know what people sitting in that do, but this is my own observation. But one thing I will recommend everybody is please join APACs, please join PTAC. I'm not trying to speak on their behalf or anything, but they're a free agency and they're helpful. Things like Maryland Black Chamber of Commerce is very helpful because, you know, webinars like this do occur and you can ask your question, but please, I recommend join them. They will assign someone, a counselor that will help you through a lot of these difficult processes. That's my advice.
And I don't know, by far, I'm learning this stuff as we're doing these webinars, so I'm not an expert at all. But I will say, one thing I learned when we were doing our doing business with the state series last year or earlier this year, they have actual events where you can come out and meet the primes and the
procurement officers.
Yeah, the officers. So they actually have events there for you to come and meet them. And I was like, wow, who knew? So I don't know if you guys are aware of those types of opportunities, but if they're out there, and we'll be bringing more.
Yeah, and I can send the website to the emails too. I will send all these information that I have for free to you, to everyone. So.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Again, for those of you who joined after, my name is Ken White, and I'm the president of the Maryland Black Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to Jenna for bringing this information to us. Thank you to all of you for joining us today. If you're not a member of the chamber, these are the types of things that we do on a regular basis to assist our small Black business community. We are statewide. We have members that are as far north as Harford County, as far south as St. Mary's County. We are headquartered in Rockville. I work out of my home in Prince George's County. We have a satellite office in Hagerstown. We have a Prince George's Advisory Board that's responsible for making sure that we are engaged in activities in Prince George's County. We have a Montgomery County Advisory Board, and we have a Western Maryland Advisory Board comprised of Washington County and Frederick County. Upcoming events next week, this Friday, we have a networking event at the Echo House in Rockville. So please feel free to come out and join us for this event at Echo House on Friday at 6 o'clock. It's a free event and we buy you drinks. So come on out and meet some folks. And then also, Melissa, I had another flyer and I forgot which flyer I asked you to put up. Leadership Academy. Also, we have our Leadership Academy program starting in January. This is a 6-month program where we bring all areas of business operation. The companies meet once a month on the second Wednesday. Most of the meetings are virtual. The last meeting we do in person in June, but they meet once a month for 6 months, the second Wednesday from 9 to 12. At 9, we typically bring in a non-traditional source of financing, i.e. your Miss BIDFAs, your VLT lenders, your Department of Housing and Community Development, to talk about those programs that people aren't aware of. We then have a testimonial from a successful business owner that comes in and shares their road to success and lessons learned along the way. And then we break out into a 2-hour subject matter expert portion where we're covering things from finance to marketing to business operations to growing and protecting your business. So please look this up on our website. It's a great program, and tell a friend. And with that, Melissa, we can unshare and I'll just open it up. If anyone has any questions about the chamber, we're open. Let me do this. I would be remiss. So I see Jenna is on our board of directors. So I also see Beverly's AI. I'm not sure if she's here in person, but she is the chairman of our Montgomery County Advisory Board. I see Emmeline's here in person. Emmeline is the chairman of our Prince George's Advisory Board. I see Juanita from our advisory board in Prince George's. I see Vicky from our advisory board in Prince George's. I see Cynthia, who's a graduate of our Leadership Academy and a advisory member in Prince George's County. That's just what I see. That's a quick screenshot. So thank you guys for joining and participating and supporting. And if anyone has any comments, feel free. Tiffany's at a new hand.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I was wondering, I know that you did a few months ago, you did a seminar on contracting with PG County.
Yes.
I'm wondering, it was in person, so I wasn't able to attend. I'm wondering if for the new calendar year or sometime in the near future, would you be doing something like that again? Preferably virtually? Because
So,
I have been having the hardest problem working with PG County, even though it is my county of residence.
so in Prince George's County, they want us to do that with in person because we partnered with the county and with the Economic Development Corporation, and they were begging and begging and begging us to do that in person. So, but we did a couple of series earlier this year. We did the federal government contracting series, that was virtual. We did the doing business with Montgomery County, that was virtual.
Both of which I attended. Yes, thank you very
Yeah.
much.
We did the doing business with the state, which was virtual. And so what they're asking us this year is, can we make those virtuals in person? So we'll try to balance the offerings and see what we can do to make sure we're hitting both avenues.
Are you noticing, and I'm not going to take up much more of your time, but are you noticing that they want more stuff in person now?
Well, what I'm getting is, there's always that old adage that different people learn different ways. When we're doing this series, some people feel that they get more out of the engagement of being there in person. And I don't know. Prince George's County specifically has asked us to do more things in person than virtual. So that's something that we've been trying to accommodate with them. And we will continue to do things virtually. And we're going to be moving programs all around the state. So I guess maybe what I'm hearing is I have to invest in the technology to figure out how to make it or it's optional, or you can do in person or virtual. We'll figure that one out.
Thank you.
I'll just say personally, I don't like doing that because then I set it all up and I get there and there's nobody in the room but me. All right. So if we don't have any more comments, we'll give you back 17 more minutes of your day. Be on the lookout for more offerings to come. Happy holidays if we don't see you between now and the end of the year.
Hey, thank you so much for
Thank
scheduling.
you.